The idea of zombies has fascinated and terrified audiences for decades. But did you know that Marvel legend Stan Lee himself found the whole concept fundamentally flawed? This surprising perspective sheds new light on how we think about the undead in superhero stories, and it might just change the way you view Marvel's take on zombies. Let's dive into the animated Marvel Zombies miniseries on Disney+, which spans 4 episodes and is set in an alternate universe where many familiar Marvel Cinematic Universe heroes exist, but with a gruesome twist. Most of them have turned into zombies. This show is adapted from the original Marvel Zombies comic series launched in 2005, created by Mark Millar, Greg Land, and Robert Kirkman. The comics were so successful that they led to numerous sequels and even wild crossover events. For example, there's the quirky Marvel Zombies vs. the Army of Darkness, which merges Marvel's undead heroes with the cult classic 1992 horror comedy Evil Dead, directed by Sam Raimi. Another spin-off, Marvel Zombies Supreme, takes the zombie theme even further by imagining a parallel world where zombie Nazis won World War II, adding a dark and twisted layer to the zombie mythos. But here's where it gets interesting. The zombie virus in the Marvel Zombies comics isn't your typical brain-eating, mindless monster scenario. While these zombies do crave human flesh and become feral when hungry, they actually revert to their normal, non-zombie personalities after eating, though their bodies remain in a state of decay. This unique twist adds complexity to the usual zombie narrative and makes the characters more than just shambling monsters. Back in 2015, Stan Lee, who was then retired from his active role at Marvel Comics, gave an interview to Seattle Magazine where he shared his thoughts on zombies. When asked if Marvel would ever create a straightforward zombie superhero, Lee seemed a bit out of the loop, perhaps understandably, since he had stepped away from day-to-day Marvel operations by then. He admitted he wasn't sure, but then dropped a fascinating insight about zombies in general. Stan Lee expressed skepticism about the entire zombie concept. He believed that if someone actually came back to life after being dead, they'd be so thrilled to be alive again that they wouldn't be fixated on eating brains or attacking people. Instead, Lee imagined a resurrected person would be more interested in celebrating life, throwing a party, rather than causing destruction. Imagine a zombie who just wants to dance and have fun instead of hunt for flesh. It's a playful and refreshing idea that challenges the traditional horror trope. Lee's point raises an intriguing question. If zombies retained any awareness or joy in their return to life, would they really be the mindless killers we expect? Of course, the classic hunger for human flesh complicates this, but it's a thought-provoking perspective nonetheless. Interestingly, Lee didn't directly address the many undead characters that have appeared throughout Marvel's history. In fact, he himself created a character named Zombie, Simon Garth, way back in 1953 for Atlas Comics, Marvel's predecessor. This character was later revived under the Marvel banner in 1973. More recently, Marvel introduced Dead Girl in 2001, a mutant who was part zombie and part ghost, a unique blend that shows Marvel's long-standing fascination with the undead. Beyond zombies, Marvel's stories often involve superheroes dying and coming back to life, blurring the lines between life, death, and resurrection. So while Stan Lee might not have been directly involved in the Marvel Zombies comic series, he was certainly no stranger to the concept of undead characters in Marvel lore. His skepticism about zombies' motivations adds a fresh, almost optimistic twist to the genre. But here's the part most people miss. Could Stan Lee's vision of a party zombie actually inspire new kinds of stories that break away from the usual horror cliches? What if zombies weren't just monsters, but complex characters with emotions and desires? Does this challenge the way we think about life, death, and what it means to be truly alive? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with Stan Lee's take on zombies, or do you think the classic brain-eating monster is here to stay? Could Marvel's zombie heroes evolve beyond their gruesome origins? Share your opinions and join the conversation below, because when it comes to zombies, the debate is far from over.